demo of some progress on my mini-CMS. This project, I called it Go SQLite because it literally was just me learning SQLite within the context of Go. I'll end up having to rename it. But what ended up happening is I just kind of organically started like growing something I wanted to build. The first 48 hours of it kind of just gave me like a simple upload server, but some important stuff like permissions and particularly were left off the table. I just kind of got it to where I could like build the image and bring it up and upload and download files because what I was looking for it's like a stupidly simple interface for this, so that you could basically write a front end app, make a React app, and simply use a curl post request of a tarball of your app, and it goes up. And when it goes up, you can think of it like a proxy in front of your file system. So when it goes up, you want it to do like a whole like AI pipeline, extract text from documents, and any text that lands on the file system, no matter how it came in, whether it was original or derived, ends up being not Elastic searchable, but Go SQLite searchable. And then when you upload images, you want it to create text labels and like basically what's in the picture and who's in the picture, right? So the idea is um, you want to be able to do keyword searches on things. So like if you look for a dog, you may find the word dog, in the Bible, but if you uploaded a picture that had a funny name that didn't tell you what was in it, the reason why you're able to find the dog is because it did a search, an AI job against it, and it knows that this image, it put in things like dog and puppy and whatnot. So if you actually search on puppy, this image would actually come back. And Yeah, because of you got labels like this coming back from AWS. And then what's important is that if you're going to make such a CMS, you have to have a permission system so that you can actually put it out there and safely let people edit their own stuff. Okay, so now that I have I built the container over here, and then once I built the container, I bring it up. The whole thing is monolithic inside of one container. I bring up Tika because that like does things like a text extract out of PDFs and Word docs. I'm also using Image Magic, and I've got FFmpeg to get thumbnails out of videos as well as out of PDFs. So the idea is you can just assume that thumbnails exist for things like movies and images so that you can use them in your app. And searchability exists, and you just don't even really have to think about it. Because what's happening is you're proxying the file system, um, and when you proxy the file system, um, things just get created for you. In a as an example, um, I'm going to be doing some uploads into that URL where my container is exposed, and in the browser there is a user database, and the user database has a random number. You get it is a bearer token basically, and with the bearer token, you can get some JSON claims that's associated with your account, and so like this has a user of a certain account. So this would be like the owner would be robfielding.gmail.com. It just happens to be that way. So because of the way the permissions work, by default, no matter what, if it's asserted that you own an email address, it's going to let you make a root directory with that email address as your home directory. Um, that way, I can build a React app and then I can install the React app. It's just that by default, I can only install it into my own directory, and it will create this directory for me. That's a that's a it just happens as a side effect of visiting the site. So if you visit the site and you have a cookie set and it's associated with an email address, you're just going to always see that your home directory exists. You're not going to know that it didn't exist before. So if I, you know, so my random ID maps to these, which is basically like my random ID is like the primary key for my user that looks me up, and these are the claims about me. And the claim is like, I'm an adult, I can drive. I optionally, well, not completely optionally, because I need to have a home directory. I put in an email address in here so that it identifies me. Um, there are cases where if you don't need to write into the home directory because somebody already made the permission wide enough, then you can have a user that doesn't identify anybody specifically, right? You can come and say like, I'm an adult from the Netherlands, so that I can go into certain parts of the site. And yeah, so I'm a user. I'm not an admin. And if I need a name for me, just call me Rob F. All right, so that means that I go in here, and it actually created this home directory when I first hit this, and in here are some files, and you'll notice like these labels on here. It says this is a public file and it's read only for the init directory, and you can see these are things like our style sheets, things that are in here just so that we have like a basic way to navigate with a browser. But the point this interface is only here just so that you can. It's like a developer thing, so that you can come in and like poke around and see how things work. Um, and you'll notice it's there's read permissions, but there are no write permissions, and it's public, right, for the things that are in this directory at the root. And whenever you drill down into a directory, if I ask, what are the permissions, in this case, I overrode them for this directory. And it says that if you have a role of admin, or if your email address is robthefielding@gmail.com, then you're allowed to do writes, right? So what's happening is everybody can read, but writes are only for people with an email address of robthefielding@gmail.com, and also I do this as an admin because otherwise we could create a user that just like has everybody in a list, and you could do that either way. So so all these apps have been uploaded. I actually uploaded a React app into the tree at a certain point, and I uploaded into here because I had permission to write into here. I can't just write that into the root, or at least once I do enforcement. I'm doing actual enforcement, but I'm definitely making sure that they're being calculated right. So yeah, document structure. I did something where it will be read only for me once I get in there. But in any case, so I'm doing these calculations, and because the permissions here say that you need to be Rob Fielding to do a write, and you need to be an adult to see it, and if you're an adult, then you have this, then you can put on something with this clearance. So because it's -- permission.rego, it applies to this file another dude.jpg, and basically all these derived files end up getting that permission. And the idea is I can upload a file just by itself, and if I upload like this, I upload that, and I don't put a permission on it. It's just like got the default label of its parent, right? So if I do this, then I got this PDF, and if it's what it's going to do is going to say, oh, I don't find it, and then keep walking up the directory, and that tells you like how the permissions actually got calculated. And another thing is everything allows for a JSON version of it. So this would actually be kind of huge because there's a lot of stuff in here, but sure. So when you write your React app, you can just write it when you got this JSON stuff to help you out. And for the most part, that JSON that comes back is correct. I do get a little bit weirdness in search, but in case if I want to go through the site and I go all the way down to the root, I can look at my credentials, or I could look at file system, or I could look for do something that where kitty doesn't show up, but let's try kitten. Then it show up, just pet. Look for pets. Okay, so we did have this weird thing where in Book of Jeremiah it cut across the thing, so yeah, false positive match because it had to cut the file up so that it can efficiently search it. But yeah, um, but yeah, that looks like a pet and that looks like a pet, and these didn't have any explicit permissions on them, so. Notice that's a read write file, and this is a read file only for some reason. And you have to figure. I'll have to look at permissions to figure out why that was a read only file. But one of the other things is some files are compound. So this is an MP4 plus a VTT plus an index.html. It's literally like a whole app inside of here. So actually, let's try. I don't even know if it made a thumbnail. I'm just checking to see if it did. It was able. It might have not. Yeah, it wasn't able to make a thumbnail for that for this video. But yeah. So the index.html, or you tried. I think I got the name for that right. Yeah. So these are the lyrics for the video, and because of that, yeah. So let's look for so go back and let's do a keyword search. So we got, yeah, it actually hit on this movie. It hit on the Bible too, but whatever. Yeah, so it hit on the lyrics. So what I need to do now, which I haven't done yet, is if you do the calculation and read does not exist, then the file won't even show up in the listing at all. It will filter it out. And if the write does not exist, any uploads that try to modify it will fail. But anyways, that's the end of the video.